Years ago, my wife and I moved back to live near her elderly parents. We bought a house a couple of streets over from them for about $300,000. When we moved back, we helped them with the maintenance of their house, including replacing the carpet, two AC units that totaled $15,000, appliances, and weatherproofing the house. In all, we spent about $75,000 to make their home more comfortable in their remaining years, with the understanding that once they pass, the house will be sold so that we get our money back and then split the rest of the money evenly between the siblings. When they both passed, we found out they left the house to my wife's youngest sister. The parents wrote a letter explaining to the siblings that they wanted to make sure that the sister had a house because she would never be able to buy one without their help. The other siblings had houses and were doing okay, so they understood and accepted the situation. I was livid because we poured money into that house, and now we won't get it back. My wife and I argued for weeks until I realized I had to accept the money is gone, or else my marriage would be ruined. Over the years, the price of the houses increased dramatically in our neighborhood, and now our house is worth $1.75 million. Sister-in-law's house is also worth over $1 million, and her property tax is over $30,000, which she struggles to pay every year. Last year, her husband was let go from his job, so they couldn't pay their taxes in January. By February, they received a letter stating they were considered delinquent, and now they owe a 6% penalty fee and a 1% interest in addition to the tax. On July 1st, the penalty fee will increase to 12%. The problem is that all of the siblings had financial difficulties last year, so they couldn't loan her money as they did in previous years. However, we're doing okay, so my wife asked me the other day if we could loan her sister the money. I said we poured enough of our money into that pit and refused her request. Our arguments have gotten to the point we're both shouting at each other. I know I can be petty, but I think I'm justified in not lending over $30,000 to a person who stole $75,000 from us. My wife doesn't want her sister to lose the house that they were raised in. Am I the idiot? Your wife's parents screwed you by accepting the money you poured into their home. You screwed yourselves by not getting a legally binding agreement. You'll never see the $75,000 again. You either have to accept that or walk away from your wife. But it is not reasonable to loan tax money to your sister-in-law. This would be my hill to die on. She owns a house that's presumably fully paid off, unless she did something silly like get a mortgage on it, and it's worth $1 million. She can sell it, downsize it, and have a nice chunk left over. On the other hand, she lives in a house that costs her $2,500 a month in just taxes, and she can't afford it. They need to move out. If you pay the taxes this year, what's going to happen in all the subsequent years? They need to get that house on the market ASAP. And how will she pay it back before next year's tax bill? Simple. She'll borrow it from OP. They want to live outside their means and not have to downsize. Easier to take someone else's money. OP, you can still get your money back. You can put a lien on the house for your $75K, so if she sells, you get your cut. The only reason I'm telling you this is that it's eating away at you, and you have hostility towards your sister-in-law, and that if you don't already, it will spill over to your wife. Exactly. She won't pay him back because experience has taught her she doesn't need to be responsible for her money when her family will pay her debt. The parents screwed everybody. OP was screwed out of $75,000 that he invested in their house. OP's wife and other siblings were screwed out of their inheritance. The sister-in-law was saddled with the house she couldn't afford and was sinking into debt. Her other siblings won't let her sell it because it's our family home and must stay in the family. Now everyone resents everyone, so goodbye to family ties. My son Adam, 25, has dated Mel, 24 female, since he was 16. Mel doesn't come from a very good family, and she's become close to my family. I consider her a daughter. One of the few things that I don't tolerate because of my ex-husband is cheating. I've always made it very clear that if one of my children, 3 sons, cheated on their partners, I would be deeply disappointed, and this would affect our relationship. 5 months ago, Mel came to my house crying, saying she found out that Adam cheated on her and got his affair partner pregnant, infant. It was a crap show. Adam was discovered, and it wasn't a confession. I said a lot of stuff to him, including that I've never felt so disappointed in him as I do now. We barely talk these days and he stopped coming to my house. Since Mel learned about the cheating, she started staying at my house and has been great company. She helps with the bills and food. She doesn't intend to move anytime soon, and I'm totally okay. 5 days ago, Adam called me saying he needed help as he was fired from his job, and with his current girlfriend's maternity salary alone, it wouldn't be possible to maintain the rent on the house they live in. I said I was sorry for the situation, but couldn't help. A lot of questions began, and one of them was whether Mel was still living with me. When I answered yes, he said something like, "We broke up 5 months ago, and you're living with my ex? Seriously?" Me without patience. If you decided to throw away 9 years of a relationship to screw another woman, that's your problem. She's still my daughter. He still complained, but insisted that he needed help and asked if he could live with me for a few months until he got a job and was able to rent a house. I could, but I know that A, it would be a horrible situation for everyone, and Mel would probably move out. B, I would have to ask Mel to move out and live with his girlfriend, and I don't want either of them. I responded by saying that I couldn't help as I lived with Mel and wouldn't put her in that situation, so he would have to find another solution. He began to question if I was really choosing a non-family member over my son and grandson when they needed help. The conversation wasn't very good after that, but Adam managed to talk to his father, who he has a terrible relationship with, and he and his family moved there temporarily. I've been receiving some nasty comments about abandoning my son and grandson from some family members and my ex-husband. Am I the idiot? Added, I help my son financially with my grandson's expenses. We have our disagreements, but we talk only about this. Even with this fight yesterday, I sent the money to buy the crib. I just didn't want him to live with me, and I couldn't help with that. Not the idiot. It sucks for him, but he's an adult. You have a strong bond with Mel and a harmonious home life. It's up to you who you share your house with. Plus, did he consider how you would feel living with his affair partner, knowing what you had been through? If there was another way for you to comfortably help and you refused, then maybe you would be the idiot. But no adult has an automatic preferential right to live in someone else's home. I'm going against the grain here, but to be honest, OP seems oddly invested in this relationship. I appreciate how much she cares for Mel, but most people who begin their relationship at 16 years old do not stay in the same relationship for nearly a decade. I wonder if the son was pressured to stay with Mel. I think Mel is also a bit of an idiot because she should be moving on at this point. Regardless of how comfortable I was with my ex's mom, I'd feel out of place unless she stayed to stick it to the ex. But if I heard that the mom was placed in the situation the OP is in, I would literally pack my stuff. OP has chosen Mel over her son and soon-to-be grandson. As a mom, I couldn't ever do that for him cheating. My 26 female, sister 23, was actively trying for a baby when she didn't have a stable income. Before this, she worked minimum wage in retail, but quit to do makeup and be a makeup artist. She does get clients, but it's not stable or enough to support a baby. When she told me she was trying to get pregnant, I advised her against it because she was still young, and most importantly, her income would not be able to support a baby. She kind of dismissed me and said her boyfriend has a well-paying job, making roughly $50K a year, and that he would be able to support them. She then got pregnant a few months later and moved in with her boyfriend, who rented an apartment. Last month, she visited me and asked for money to buy food and essentials because her boyfriend doesn't have much money left over after he pays the bills and because babies are more expensive than she thought. I gave her $1K, not a loan because she wouldn't be able to pay it back, and I was okay to lose it, but now she's back and asking for another $1K. I told her no, and that I was okay helping her out last month, but I couldn't anymore because she chose to have a baby and she wasn't ready for it. She called me a witch, greedy, and a snob for not giving her money. She said now my niece is going to go cold and hungry as they can't afford to buy formula and new baby clothes. She's outgrowing the others. I feel terrible, but I also feel like I should be standing my ground, and I don't think her actions should impact me. I was okay with giving her $1K to help her out, but $2K is so much money. I also don't want to keep giving her money because when does it end? She's still on maternity leave and wants to go back to makeup when they have enough money to put the child in daycare, but they don't have enough money now. So, am I the idiot? Edit. We live in Sydney, and I know the rent for the boyfriend's apartment is $550 a week. Firstly, it's not your responsibility to raise their child. What is the father doing? I mean, why is he not going around borrowing money? Secondly, you already gave her $1K without expecting to be paid back. This would just build a bad habit for her eventually. You're not the idiot. OP gave her a gift of $1K last month. Her sister's already asking for another handout and is rampaging for not getting it. OP needs to tell her sister that if the child is truly going to go hungry, then she'll call Child Protective Services and let them investigate to see if it's possible for the baby to survive in her care. OP should not allow the sister to hold her emotionally hostage over worries of the baby going hungry. Honey, if you help her, do not give her cash. Buy her formula and diapers on Amazon and have it shipped to her. It ensures the baby has necessities and you're not giving her cash to blow. Also, since babies grow out of clothes so fast, there are almost always places to find cheap or even free used baby clothes, if her baby really is going to go cold because the clothes don't fit anymore. If your sister was honestly desperate, she'd do that rather than manipulate her family members for new baby clothes. When I saw the edit say Sydney, I did a double take on the boyfriend's good salary. $50K is barely above minimum wage these days and is realistically poverty income when you're talking about supporting a family of 3 in Sydney. They're irresponsible and selfish people. They've born a child into a low-income household in a high cost of living area. How are they living stretched so thin? Absolute insanity if you ask me. I, 29 female, am a freelance graphic designer who works from home. I love what I do and have built a successful business over the past 5 years. My sister, Sarah, 34, has a kindergarten-age son, Ethan, who's energetic and quite a handful. Sarah works a traditional 9-to-5 job, and her husband often travels for work. For the past year, Sarah's been asking me to babysit Ethan several times a week. She claims it's because I'm home all day and have a flexible schedule. I agreed at first, but it quickly became overwhelming. Ethan demands a lot of attention, and it's hard to focus on my work when he's around. I started setting boundaries, saying I could only babysit on specific days or times. Sarah didn't take this well and kept pushing for more. Last week, things came to a head. Sarah called me during a work deadline asking if I could take Ethan because her regular babysitter canceled at the last minute. I told her I couldn't, as I had an important project due. She snapped, saying, "You're just sitting at home drawing. How hard can it be to watch a kid?" I was hurt and angry. I told her that my job is just as important and demanding as hers, and that she should respect my time. She hung up on me and we haven't spoken since. Yesterday, our mom called, saying that Sarah's struggling and needs help with Ethan, and that I should be more supportive because family comes first. I explained what happened, and Mom said I was being too sensitive and should let it go. But I feel disrespected and don't want to babysit Ethan anymore until Sarah apologizes and acknowledges that my work is important. Now Sarah's telling our relatives that I'm refusing to help her out of spite, and some of them agree with her. I'm starting to feel guilty, but I also stand by my need for boundaries and respect. So am I the idiot for refusing to babysit my nephew after my sister insulted my career? Edit. I typically work 40 to 50 hours a week on various projects. Sarah has other potential babysitting options, but they cost more money. This isn't the first time Sarah's made dismissive comments about my job. Not the idiot. Not this canard again. No, family does not come first. On serious matters, this is a serious matter. You must take care of yourself first before you can take care of others. It is not mandatory for other people to understand your decisions in order for you to demand that they abide by them. If family comes first, why can't your mother babysit? It's actually great that so many people are taking her side. They can all babysit. Problem solved. Stand your ground. Make plans when you're not working. Don't be available. You don't have children. Live your childless life. It's not enough for Sarah to apologize for insulting you. She then slandered you and now needs to set the record straight. Only consider making time for her if she tells everyone the truth and starts respecting you. My boyfriend, Tyler, 27, and I, female 21, met about a year ago and have been dating for about 6 months. For context, we live in South Georgia, where I was born and raised, went to school, and now work. My whole family is here, and I don't plan on moving. Tyler's not from Georgia. He's from California. He moved on over here from school and just liked it and stayed. We had never really talked extensively about his life in California because I'd never been there. Well, last week Tyler asked me if I would like to come along on a trip that he's taking back there, and he told me he would like me to meet his family. Of course, I said yes, and I was so flattered and excited. I've only briefly talked to his mom once, but she seemed like a very sweet woman. Well, in the process of packing today, the trip's on Wednesday, Tyler pointed at my boots and asked me if I needed to bring them, since they take up a lot of room in the suitcase. I just laughed and said, yes, I always wear them, which is true. Everyone in South Georgia who dresses like me wears cowgirl boots and sundresses or jeans. He knows that's my style. He then proceeded to ask me if I was able to tone down my country accent in front of his family and during the trip. I know I have a Southern accent, especially to him, but I was born in Georgia, and it's not like I talk like a hick. And honestly, this kind of offended me. Tyler saw this offended me and told me, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude, but with the whole blonde hair, boots, Southern drawl, I don't want them to think you're dumb or annoying. Like he genuinely said those words to my face. I asked him why he would ever say that, and he said that when I said a few words to his mom, she laughed at how I talked. I found this so condescending and rude, and honestly kind of ugly of her. I told him I would never tone down for his family or anyone else. The kicker is that I'm not even an outgoing person. I'm shy. I don't say much. I wouldn't come on too strong. He was simply saying the way I look and talk is too much. Am I the idiot for saying that to him? My jaw dropped at, I don't want them to think you're dumb or annoying. Not the idiot, but I would be rethinking how I felt about a man who said that to me. He's so judgmental. What a horrible attitude to have towards people. Perhaps he should be talking to his family. Mom, can you tone down being an elitist, judgmental witch? Just for a while. You'll make a bad impression. I mean, if he respected his girlfriends and all. Mommy's boy alert. His mother was rude enough to laugh at OP's accent. Instead of standing up for her, the soon-to-be ex-boyfriend asked OP to basically totally change herself completely. Nope. You were 6 months in, OP. Not long at all. Walk away. You deserve better. Do you really want to stay with a 30-year-old man baby who can't even stand up for you to his mommy? The answer is simple, dear. Just don't pack the boots. Don't pack any dresses, shoes, shirts, or underwear. Don't pack anything. All you really need to pack is all of the little California mama's boy stuff and send him back to California to mommy. Use the time apart to find you a real man who appreciates you for who you are.